commissioners was speaking of the core structure, and that being no more than $1 million is what we were discussing with them, without the wings.
That's correct. That was the motion that was
But
made.
you're tearing the wings down.
Correct. Yes.
Or you could, whether we want to get into this, but I think an alternative motion for you, or an alternative proposal for you, allow the wings to stand to save that money and spend that money saved some other way to do what we have to do.
That would be the.
I would leave it up, I'm speaking for myself, I would leave it up to the commissioners. You come up with the plan, you come up with whatever you can accommodate for that money. Maybe you have to give up something, maybe something else goes, but I think that has to be up to the commissioners. I know that's a lot of stuff to put on the plate, but whatever you can do. And Representative McConkey, did you have?
Yeah, reading from minutes of October 3rd, 2011, I'll stand corrected if it changes somewhere else. Representative Fleck makes a motion to retain the core of the old nursing home with a cost not to exceed $1 million, seconded by McConkey. It is the intention that only the core remain.
Thank you. And $1 million be used just for the core. According to the
My
motion.
point, though, is
I got you.
that when we could not arrive at that, did that nullify that motion?
Yep.
And did it open up in turn other options?
Okay.
And from my point of view, I would like to see every option on the table.
Okay.
Now, isn't that vote we took now null and void, since we voted last week when four of us weren't here to put everything in mothballs? I would assume that would be null and void, because we already voted to take the wings down. That's null and void now, because we re-voted last week to save everything.
I would suggest that the motion was made to retain only the core, and that the second motion was to mothball. And to mothball to me would be, we are only speaking that only the core would remain. So in my idea, it doesn't negate our vote here, which only addresses the core.
I think last week they said.
If you want to make a motion to that effect, we could do that. right now.
I'd like to say that it was Representative Merrow who made the motion to mothball, and I'd like him to be here to speak to that again before we do it. Because
What
that
about
was his
last week when
intention.
there were four of us missing?
Well,
all
it was
right
his-
then,
it was
right?
his motion. It was his
Raise your
motion.
hand and say, I'd like to make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we go back to the original idea, voted on and approved, that we will keep the core only.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor to do that. That's the
Second
original.
motion for discussion.
Okay, second. Do we have any discussion on that? Yes, Representative
I
Roberts.
think Representative McConkey has been very clear that the old nursing home subcommittee is going to be meeting very shortly. And that we are going to try, that they are going to try to sort all of this out. And that when the commissioners find the time to get something back to us, okay, within the $1 million, then we'll look at it. In the same way that if they don't want to get back to us on the pellet boiler installation.
We'll get
then-
back to you, no question about it.
Then we'll not do anything about that either. But, that the point is that we have a process that is supposed to be working. I don't know why the mothball motion was made, or, exactly what that all transpired. But we will look at that. I don't think that anything is in stone that we can't undo, and I just think that it's not a necessary motion at this point.
Okay,
Withdraw my second.
okay. There is no motion on the floor now.
Yes, I know there is, it's my motion, he withdraw his second, but I just want to speak to the motion because Representative Umberger wasn't here last week, and we asked exactly what Representative McConkey said today.
Okay, I'm
We-
going to, Representative...
Do I have the floor or not?
No, I'm going to rule that it's out of order because we don't have a second to the motion, and the motion therefore fails. And I think we should move on to other business at this point. We address this, I think we did lay out a process early on that, and we agreed, painful for some, maybe not others, but we agreed. Let's allow the subcommittee to work, bring that information back. Everything's essentially on the table, or things can be done or undone, and let's move forward from that. Let's follow the plan that we have. And
I
so,
agree, and that's what we asked last week, and we were told no.
Yes, Representative Babson.
Can I change the subject, Mr. Chairman?
Why? No, go ahead.
I just want, so I mentioned today that something about the excess for the bond could be spent on different projects. I have a copy of the letter from David H. Barnes, which was sent to Kathy, explaining that upon 2/3, and this is where I was wrong, upon 2/3 of the vote of all members of the county convention, which would be all of us, these excess proceeds may be appropriated to pay for any project that is eligible for bond financing, other public improvements or of a permanent nature, or, number 2, in the absence of such appropriation, the excess proceeds may be used to make payments of principal, parentheses, but not interest, on the bond as the same become due. So it would require a vote for us to use the excess, which is important to this discussion.
Yes. Representative Umberger.
Yes, I just want to provide to the delegation, the next meeting is the 13th of February. The meeting following that will be the 12th of March, with the next one being the 19th of March. And as I discussed with Representative Patton, we need to be prepared with our subcommittee work to have that available at the 12th and the 19th, so that we can hopefully get the budget sorted out before March 31st, when it needs to be done. So we're looking at the 12th and the 19th to accomplish that. So if you're chairman of a subcommittee and you haven't met yet, I just ask that you think about it.
She also asked us to pencil in the 26th.
Oh, right, 26 if necessary.
Of
March.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was ignoring that one, but I had it written on my little blue note, if necessary. But our goal is to get the budget settled by the 19th.
Right.
Now, wasn't that a trip?
The 19th hour on the 31st.
Yeah.
Okay, does anybody have anything, Representative Sorensen, excuse me, Commissioner Sorensen, did you want to make a statement about that statement that you received?
Yes, sir. I got a letter from EGA for additional services performed by architect, meeting with existing nursing home building committee. That's the old building committee. Professional services of $1,896.13 for Jerry Menke and Maria Gonzalez to attend that subcommittee meeting that was held a week ago. What would you like to do with that, Bill?
I would entertain a motion from anyone who would like to address that.
A motion or a comment?
Or, well, you may start off with a comment, or Representative McCollum.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. When the subcommittee noticed that we were going to meet 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, whenever it was, made a call to the Commissioner's office and wanted to notice that we were going to meet. I then added to that meeting that I wanted to have a tour of the building before the meeting started, so that the subcommittee could see the condition of the building and where we were before we started, thinking that would be helpful. As I was leaving the room, representative from the Commissioner's office wanted to know who they should send the notice to. And I said should send it to the normal people that are notified of our meetings. There was no intent, the chairman of the subcommittee had no intention to ask previous architects or anyone else any questions during that tour. It was just simply a tour to see the inside. It was not the intention of the chairman that we were meeting to ask any questions of them also. So it would be my opinion that it was their error and that we should not be billed for any time that they were there. Motion not to pay the fee.
Could I ask Representative McConkey what he told our secretary to send out for notice? I wasn't involved in that. It was between you and her, I believe.
That we were having a meeting
Okay.
for the subcommittee, and that I had made the request of Bob to be able to do a tour for the subcommittee of the old nursing home before we started the meeting.
Okay. Okay.
Can I say
Yes,
something?
Representative
I
Kenny.
thought that, I don't know if they were invited, I believe that they were invited, but why would they bill for if they're coming here to just attend the meeting? I think this is a ridiculous amount, what they asking almost
I do too.
$2,000 to attend the meeting. They already make a couple $millions building the new nursing home, and they cannot even come to attend the meeting. If we were going to rehab the old nursing home, I thought that they were going to do it or not. Was she not
No,
going
we
to be
had
the
no-
architect?
We have no contract with
I
him.
think it is ridiculous. They know there is some money left over, and I think they want to take advantage of that. They
There
should
is-
get zero.
Okay, we do have a motion on the floor, excuse me, we do
Is
have a
it our
motion.
privy to tell them whether to do that or not?
No,
I don't think it is,
it's
so I'll
not.
withdraw my motion.
Okay, okay,
It's not our, that's,
okay, so the
What was that?
commission
You
is,
threw it, why?
But it's, if
The
I
commissioners.
could, it's a commissioner's issue what to do with the billing submitted to them, and I don't believe that we need a motion from the delegation telling them not to pay it. They'd asked for information, we provided
yeah,
information.
okay, that's fine.
I would just like to add, Mr. Chairman, that I was sitting right over there during that subcommittee meeting, and the subject was brought up then, while the individuals were still here, and Representative McConkey said, I had nothing to do, I did not invite them, why should we pay them to travel? They knew that before they left, but they sent us a bill anyway.
Okay, so that's back in your hands, and I think you have a sense of where the delegation stands, so, anything else that has to be brought up at this point?
can I move to adjourn?
Yes, I just want to get some public comments. and-
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
public
yes,
comment.
yes,
Excuse
please.
me.
Yes,
I'm Don Litchfield, and I'm going to speak on behalf of taxpayers about what I saw here. I heard a motion made. Maybe you had discussions before, but I didn't hear anybody discuss what the cost of making that motion was. I haven't read your contracts, okay, but I have been involved in the past with stopping contracts and restarting. You got a bill for $350,000, $375,000. I don't know how many subs these guys got below them. But if each sub decides that they're going to start charging you $25,000, $30,000 for lawyer support, the decision you made today could easily ramp up $100,000 and $120,000 before you even know what happened. Okay, I'm swagging it. But I've gone through legal cases for GE, Amatec, and other major firms. And my guess is you people don't know what you just did. If you didn't have an honest discussion and read the contracts and say, what are the stop work clauses? What are the restart clauses? If I were these guys, I'd be sitting back there, I'd go pull my equipment in 15 minutes and say, here's what it costs for each one. I'd be hitting up each one of the subs and saying, hey, what is it going to cost you to shut down? What will it cost to restart? And folks, you've opened yourself up. If that $350,000 doesn't go up to $500,000, Don Litch will buy you all a dinner, based on the legal costs you've opened yourselves up to. And you just don't know. You haven't played that game before. Number two, what bothers me, you made a motion and you all voted for it or in favor of it. You got an explanation. Why did you think you didn't? You still put the motion through. The problem is you didn't like the explanation that you had. So you voted, stop it, and give us an explanation. What other explanation can the commissioners give you other than what they already told you? What do you expect to hear? If they gave you an honest answer, this is where we thought it come from, you're gonna be putting stones on them and stones on them until they say what you wanna hear, or what they gave you? It makes no sense to prolong this thing. This was the most fruitless thing in my mind and common sense that I've ever seen. You ask a question, you get an answer, you don't like it, we want a different answer. If I were there, I wouldn't give you a different answer. I'd say, what do you want me to do? The third thing that bothers me about this, I heard a commissioner ask you a two-part question. Tell me just exactly what do you want me to do based on the decision you made. What do I tell these people? Who do we pay? Not one of you answered. We made our decision. You did a dump. But shame on every one of you, because you didn't answer their question, you didn't support. I'd hate like hell to work for 14 bosses, all with different opinions, and all you had to do was sit here and say, we'll tell them, and let them figure it out. This taxpayer thinks you're a bunch of cowards.
Representative Babson.
We shouldn't be
Thank you very much for
responding.
your input, sir, but I take homage to the fact that you accused us all of that. I voted no,
I understand.
and I don't appreciate you calling me a coward because I voted no for exactly the reasons you stated.
Accept my apology.
Thank you.
Commissioner Kenny.
There was no plan on the $1 million, so I don't think that a commissioner should move forward to any installation there in the old nursing home.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
There was no plan for under $1 million, so I don't think that a commissioner should be moving forward doing any installation of the pellet boilers.
She's just stating her opinion.
Okay. Yes, go ahead.
My name's Sandy Stoll, I'm another Carroll County taxpayer. I'm real concerned about where this thing is heading, possibly losing this federal funding, this $375,000 you're talking about. I keep hearing about tearing down this building. I spoke to a couple of people about what is the integrity of the structure of this whole building. If there is nothing wrong with the integrity, which I've been assured there isn't, why are we tearing down a perfectly good building that could be used for other things? I know that you have a procedure, and I'm not familiar with all of this, but sometimes I think some of our representatives in this county need to listen more to their taxpayers who are they supposed to be representing. I feel like maybe you ought to ask the taxpayers to vote on how they feel about tearing down buildings and not finishing what we need for the nursing home. I just am amazed at all of this bickering and fighting, and this one's got this idea and this was, you guys are supposed to represent us. You guys are one person, you have your own opinions, but you're supposed to be representing us. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mrs. Spencer.
As all of you know, I have been here from day one, on the ground floor, looking at the plans of the new nursing home. The pipes were laid when the new nursing home was under construction to go to the old nursing home to house the pellet boilers. I guess I'm just flabbergasted that this is in question. I understand that there are a majority of you people that do not want that nursing home there anymore. It's been an eyesore for I don't know how many years. However, when the new nursing home was under construction, it came under the 23.5 million because it was downsized with the fact that the pellet boilers were going to be housed within the old nursing home. I don't understand why that's such an issue now. Secondly, this bickering, that's a great word, this bickering about what we're going to do with the wings, again, why are we spending, me as a taxpayer, I don't want to spend that much money to tear anything down when it can be used maybe at some point. I understand again, there are those of you that don't want to be in the real estate business. please, I'm already spending way more than I should on taxes. Do not waste my money and my time with your decisions. What it's gonna cost, if you shut this operation down right now, again, Mr. Litchko stated it way better than I could, in lawyers' fees, and the repercussions of what this is doing, all because a certain few of you do not want to see that nursing home standing, is just unbelievable. I, as a taxpayer, I could probably pull 25 or 30 more people that feel the same way I do. I'm sure if the Conway Daily Sun wanted to put it in their opinion, you could get way more answers than that. But just the consequences of the decisions that you're making today, because a few of you don't want to see that building standing anymore, is unbelievable. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other public comments? Yes.
A question about the old nursing home, subcommittee. I wanted to know who was on that committee specifically, and I have seen the meetings, the last meeting of it, but I just wanted to make sure I knew everyone that's on it.
Yes,
Perhaps the chairman.
it's Representative McConkey, Merrow, Pettingill, McCarthy, and Patton.
Schmidt.
And Schmidt.
George Fleck?
No,
So there are 6 members?
that's correct.
6, thank you.
The subcommittee was appointed by the chairman, Betsy Patton.
Was that at a delegation meeting?
Yes, it was.
Do you know which one that was? I missed that.
I don't, but it was during a meeting.
Do you have a scheduled meeting coming up for the subcommittee or just some point?
We were attempting to have one today, but we're told that we couldn't, so we'll announce our next one.
Thank you.
I'll be happy to make sure you're on the list.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Brown.
Yes, to everyone's comments, I just want to make it perfectly clear. This isn't like personally against Mr. Remick or BPS. But the commissioners, there are rules, there are procedures, there are state laws that the commissioners are obligated to adhere to, like the rest of us taxpayers, that we have to abide by the laws. This, I see, is a direct consequence of the commissioners not following the rules, not following the procedures, not following state laws. So if there is a cost associated with this, then the commissioners should be held accountable, because it is their own erroneous errors, as in a special meeting, less than 2 days, 44 hours before their next scheduled meeting, they're going to have a special meeting to vote on this $375,000 contract. Blame the commissioners. 2 of them are up for election this year. Hold them accountable, vote them out. Thank you.
Representative McConkey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to go back to a point that perhaps was lost on some people here. Once the commissioners show that they have the authority to the delegation to spend that money, they're free to move forward. If it takes them a day to come up and demonstrate that, then they're free to move forward. If it takes them a month to come up with that authority, it'll take that long. It is up to the commissioners to come by our motion to show that they have the authority. If they have the authority, they move forward.
Yes, and once again, sir, I'd like to ask you if they have no better answer than to say we truly believe that we had it within the contingency plan. What are you going to do? If that's the answer, what are you going to do? Are we going to forfeit the federal funding? Are you going to re-vote and say, well, shame on you, we'll vote with this guy and we'll suggest they all get voted out, but go ahead? What are you going to do? What are you gonna do if they all come back and start hitting you right now with 90% of the equipment costs because it's been delivered, 50% of the labor cost that's been delivered, and legal costs on top? And the answer is still, gee, we thought it was in the contingency. What else do you want us to say? My point to you is that you're asking them to come up with a lie. You want them to say what you want to hear. You don't want to hear what they've told you.
Thank you. If it's something.
Yeah, just quick, Joe. Well, I think Representative Algren read the RSA, that in the RSA, is it 2413, that anything over $5,000 has to go before the delegation. The commissioners do not have the legal right to spend in excess of $5,000 without the delegation's approval.
Okay.
Period.
Point is made. Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
One more comment from Mr. Litchfield and then go.
Mr. Litchko would just like to say, what is the contingency for? I've worked for GE, I've worked for Amatec, I've worked on contracts that were $20 million. And whether as a consultant or as an employee of those firms, when we sat down with the bosses and you had a budget and they said, okay, here's what you've got, we know you can't be exact, you never can be exact, things will be added, things will be subtracted, here's your contingency. Typically, it's 15% on any major project, not 5 or 10, 15%. And when I'd go and give reports every month, okay, the first question is, how much have you spent? The second question is, what changes have been made? Questions, not directives. And number 3 is, can you bring it in within the contingency? End of discussion. If you granted them the contingency, allow them to use the contingency. If you didn't mean for them to use the contingency, why the hell put it in there?
Mr. Chairman, I would say that in fact that Mrs. McKenzie has been waiting for about 2 hours to meet with the nursing home subcommittee, and since we don't have any new members of the public that have anything to say, that we should make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, we will see you all next
What they do is get legal
Monday.
I don't know, it's not me.
what the contingency is and how you can use it.
Frank, are you in